Hey there everybody, this is PotterBrony and welcome to another blind reaction of Death Battle. This time we have Mob versus Tatsumaki, or Tornado as you can call her. Yeah. Now I know nothing about Mob other than the fact that he is apparently an extremely powerful psychic. I don't know his backstory, I don't know his abilities, I don't know anything about the show. I've never watched Mob Psycho 100 or read the manga or anything like that. I have watched One Punch Man, and I gotta tell you, I am not a fan of Tatsumaki. Yeah, she's powerful, and yeah, it's cool to see her in action, but the attitude kind of puts me off. She's a bit of a bitch, and I'm be honest with you, it would be no sweat off my back if Mob wipes the floor with her. I don't know how it's gonna go. Here's the finding out, though. As always, the link to the video is in the description below. Be sure to support Death Battle, and let's get going and see what they've got in store for us. Alrighty, let's take a look. In 3, 2, 1. And go.
This episode of Death Battle is sponsored by 23andMe. It's that time of the year again. Everybody
and
likes
Blue Apron, I'm assuming, as well.
What's more personal than your DNA?
Whiz, don't make it weird. 23andMe is an easy and awesome way to learn about your ancestry and health.
With over 150 genetic reports and 1,500 geographic regions, it's the most comprehensive ancestry breakdown you can find.
I tried it myself. I learned my family's from all over the place, but only from the redneck parts.
Get it for 50% off all November long. That's only $99. Order your Health Plus Ancestry Kit at 23andme.com/deathbattle. That's the number 23andme.com/deathbattle.
$99 50% off? I don't know, maybe sometime I'll do that, but maybe I should consider it now.
There are plenty of talented people in the world, but even then, only a select few have the honor of being called prodigy.
But being a prodigy can get to one's head. Or one's head, if you know what I'm saying. Because you know, the guy who made both these characters is called one. So, yeah.
Mob, the reluctant psychic powerhouse from Mob Psycho 100.
And Tatsumaki, the fearless, ferocious Esper from One Punch Man. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. As a citizen of Seasoning City, you would probably be familiar with the local criminal group Claw.
Maybe even the famous sex symbol and so-called greatest psychic of the century, Reagan.
But you probably wouldn't think twice about this plain-looking boy with a bowl cut, Shigeo Kageyama.
Long story short, he's a pretty unremarkable student of Salt Middle School. He's the kid you picked last for dodgeball. He's just sort of there, taking up space and stealing your air.
The kanji in his name can even be misread as Mob, which means bland and boring.
Naturally, everybody calls him that.
So you might be surprised to learn that he accidentally took over a local gang, unintentionally founded his own cult, and is an incredibly powerful psychic warrior.
Don't get it mixed up. This isn't your typical superhero secret identity shenanigans. Bob doesn't really give a shit about any of these things. He's just out there trying to fit in by joining the Body Improvement Club, which he sucks horribly at. Oh, come on, man. Running's not that hard. Take it from me, and I've got a shotgun for a leg.
So physicality is not his
danger
deal.
Or his friends need protecting. Mob's psychic ability manifests as something truly phenomenal.
He's mega powerful. He might not be able to run a mile without fainting, but he totally can if he boosts his body psychically. He can fly through the air, fling objects all over the place, throw psychic energy attacks, lift giant buildings,
enhance his own physical strength as well.
Whip up huge twisters, and more.
He's not just an offensive powerhouse, he can mold his psychic energy around his body as a shield. While this isn't an uncommon technique in Mob's world, it's incredibly useful for him in particular, as he's one of the few psychics who can actually attack and defend simultaneously.
Like when he was fighting a bunch of evil spirits all at once. Oh, talk about weird looking. Wiz, you sure he's not just like tripping balls or something?
No, but you're kind of on the right track. These psychic powers are directly linked to emotions. The more sad, angry, rejected, and so on that you feel, the more powerful your psychic abilities become.
Hey Wiz, punch me.
What?
Punch me! I need to get really angry so I can do psychic stuff. Really? My grand.
Go with the other hand.
You. Wow. You think it'll work if I'm just so embarrassed about having a friend like you?
There it is.
Wow.
Regardless,
Yeah.
the fact that Mob's psychic powers are drawn from his emotions is a conundrum in and of itself. See, when Mob was a child, an attempt to use his powers wound up injuring his younger brother. This tragedy would scar Mob forever, terrifying him of his own ability. As a result, he suppressed his emotions for years.
But just like a needy ex, they'd still boil up in bad situations. Us readers got to see them rise with a handy percentage counter. When it hits 100%, Mob goes all
That's
out like
the
a
100.
Super Saiyan. He can even absorb psychic energy while in 100 mode.
But that's not Mob's limit, far from it. Suppressing his powers had an unprecedented effect on his psyche. His power became an entity of its own within Mob's mind, representative of his repressed self.
And when
Alright.
things get real bad, it takes over his body in a blind rage. Or blind sadness, whatever he's feeling at the time.
In this unmeasurable state,
And you can't
Mob's
even
true
tell-
prowess is
question mark
revealed, and it's
percentage.
extraordinary. His sheer psychic aptitude increases at an alarming rate, including his absorption ability.
My powers are being sucked in by Kageyama. All of the energy in the atmosphere. Are you telling me his vessel is able to handle this much?
And while he is often unconscious while his inner self takes over, his questionable state will continue trying to achieve whatever his most recent objective may be. Whether that's taking on the criminal organization Claw or confessing how he feels to his crush.
All right, I
Transferred
get it.
a
The guy's
city
super
busting
strong.
blast
Let's
into
figure out
broccoli.
just how much psychic power he's
That's
got
the thing that
piled
popped up for
Check
me.
this out. While smashing this ugly joke through a building, he went from 0 to kick-ass so fast he caught fire.
Taking this feat literally, to get this result, he would have to be reaching an ablation speed over 5 times the speed of sound.
Fast, but not as fast as a bolt of lightning, which he was quick enough to catch with his shield.
That's not all. In his duel with Claw's boss, Toichiro, Mob took this huge crushing hit, scaling this massive handprint crater to a nearby building, that one, and applying the resulting fragmentation of rock. We found Mob survived an attack worth over 80 tons of TNT.
Nah, that's small time.
Kinda
for
reminds
Shiggy.
me of,
In the same fight, he psycho lifted hundreds of buildings into the air. Look at
what
that
was that
thing.
movie?
Suddenly, I have an unshakable urge to go play Katamari Damacy. Somehow these things will make some stars.
Ahem. Not only is that
Not
millions of
Shaolin
tons of
Soccer,
stone
the
and
same people that
concrete,
made
but
it,
simply creating
Kung
this
Fu.
orb pushed away the clouds.
Okay, I know what you're
Something.
thinking. Guys, that's not impressive. Clouds are just fluffy balls of cotton candy. Now I hear you. I thought so too. But turns out that's
Yeah.
not true
Here's
at
a My
all.
Little Pony clip.
Unfortunately, to move clouds in real life, you need a freaking hydrogen bomb.
So it's quite impressive when on another occasion, Mob gathered all these clouds himself. By measuring the area and multiplying by average cloud density, this feat comes out to around 30 gigatons of TNT.
20 times the combined
That's,
destructive capabilities of all the nuclear warheads in the world.
That's a hell of a lot of
Isn't
power.
all powerful. For example, once while absorbing an explosive attack, he reached a definitive limit, though he compensated by redirecting all that psychic energy into some broccoli seeds, with interesting results.
Oh man, it's gonna be hard to hide that one under the table.
In time,
Alright.
Mob eventually reconnected with his repressed self, fully accepting his past and his powers.
So look out, he may look like a total dork, but this is one middle schooler you don't want to try stealing lunch money from.
Can you feel it? Rage burning in me.
In a world filled with monsters and villains which threaten the survival of humanity on a daily basis,
All right,
it's a
now on
stroke
to
of luck
Tornado.
that mankind has its fair share of saviors in the form of superheroes.
And some of these heroes are so powerful they can crush all the baddies without even laying a finger on them.
These are espers, superhumans who possess powerful psychic abilities.
And one of them is a girl named Tatsumaki. What the? Is that real? Why did she have cinnamon rolls stuck on her face?
Well, let's just say one is more well known for his excellent storytelling than, say, his art. Regardless, Tatsumaki's psychic abilities were extraordinary, even at a young age. So
Tornado
much
of
so,
terror.
she was taken from her family to be detained and studied at a research facility. She was 7 years old.
Well, that sucks.
Not the best childhood, obviously. Lucky for her, she got out. thanks
Favorite
to a
hobby, being a
surprise
brat.
rescue
Yeah,
by the
yeah.
hero called Blast. Who blasts things? I guess.
Alright, so that's
No one
Blast.
really knows.
Either way, Blast's rescue changed Tatsumaki's life forever, and he left her with one very important lesson. When the time comes, don't expect someone to save you.
That's kinda harsh. He is supposed to be a superhero, right?
Whether it be she was inspired by his heroism or torn by his contradiction, Tatsumaki decided to take up hero work for herself. Thus, she took up the mantle, Tornado of
being
Terror.
realistic, it sounds like. You know, don't
Yeah, I know. what you're
rely.
thinking. Doesn't that sound more like a supervillain name?
Don't base all your
Maybe
hopes
might
on
mistake her for one too, cause she's kind of a brat.
Well, she is the
Some
best at
unknown
what she
person
does,
helping you.
and she knows it. So she often seems arrogant and rude. With her psychokinesis, she often floats above her opponents, looking down on them literally and figuratively.
Her favorite thing to do is throw rocks at people. Big rocks, small rocks, rocks from outer space, doesn't matter. If it's vaguely
Rocks from outer space is pretty
flying at you.
impressive.
But she doesn't discriminate. She's also fine throwing other things like trains, schools, people, even a giant octopus.
Not only that, but she can alter the direction of gravity, create town-spanning barriers, twist up a human body, cause magnitude 8 level earthquakes, and spin up enormous whirlwinds. Fitting for her namesake.
And that's not even half of it. She's the most powerful Esper of them all, even better than her older sister, Fubuki.
Actually, that's her younger sister.
Wait, what? Man, anime's real confusing.
But given her past, even with her sister beside her, Tatsumaki has some serious trust issues.
She doesn't even want Fubuki to have friends. Chill out, lady. Friends are important. Right, Wiz?
Sorry, what?
Oh. Well, he had his chance.
Anyway, manipulating objects and organisms is only part of her skill set.
Yeah,
Tatsumaki's
trying to
power
kill zombie
truly
men,
shines
or
when
not
it
trying
comes
to kill him.
precision.
Just
Oh,
stabbing
yeah,
him for
she's
fun.
so talented, she can use her crazy mind power to have full control over television.
Yeah, sure, but that's not really what I had in mind.
Change.
Well, Tatsumaki has some level of control over a person's chi, or as it's known in traditional Chinese culture, vital life force. If she can overpower her opponent, she can use their
You're gonna
own
give yourself
chi
an
to
aneurysm
disable
there?
or even kill them.
I did it! I'm psychic!
Against other espers, she can
Yeah, I
spire
had
her
to-
own energy to redirect theirs, and even suppress their powers in an instant.
Yeah, Lady Tornado can block their psychicness whenever she wants, so long as they're a weaker Esper than her, which basically means everyone. One Punch Man, meet the One Thought Woman. Seriously, this chick is so powerful she pulled a meteor from outer space.
Well, while that move is pretty well known, it technically is not canon to the original source material. However, that doesn't mean it's off the table, as it turns out her other accomplishments prove she's more than powerful enough to pull it off.
Just look at her lifting up this, what am I looking at here?
Good
Yeah.
question. Thankfully, one was kind enough to include these lovely labels identifying Z-City and an underground hideout. Now, Tatsumaki is psychokinetically lifting the
Wow, these,
entire hideout,
drawings
which was
are
previously stated to reach
fantastic.
over 1,500 meters deep. As for the city, the world of One Punch Man is based on real-life locations in Tokyo. So at the very least, we could compare Z-City to a smaller district like Ginza, which consists of about 215 acres. With the size of an average building in that district in mind, and thus scaling the building to the hideout and then to Ginza, we found that Tatsumaki must be lifting over 3 billion tons of rock.
That's like lifting the entire Great Wall of China 62 times. More than powerful enough to pull a meteor from the sky.
When the alien invader Boros attacked City A with a hailstorm of giant bullets, she was fast enough to stop them in mid-air and turn them back on the enemy ship. Scaling these bullets to the height of a human and gauging by the amount of damage they could cause, the bullets must have been moving 1,800 times faster than sound.
She's tough enough to survive an attack that's 300 times the Earth's gravity, which probably explains why she could push through crazy G-forces while flying and fighting against the One Punch Man himself, Saitama.
By looking at the distance they flew in such a short time frame, they were likely moving
Probably
more than
didn't do much
36
of anything.
times the speed of sound.
Which is awesome, but she still didn't win the fight.
It was actually a rather humbling experience for her, finally realizing that
Yeah, I'll bet.
perhaps she isn't the most powerful person alive.
I mean, all espers have limits, including Tatsumaki. Their psychic power drains them of energy, so they can get worn out to a point where they can't do their psycho magic for a while.
Also, she generally has to focus exclusively on either offense or defense. So when she's on the attack, her guard is lowered, something a skilled enough opponent can certainly take advantage of. Also, should an Esper like Tatsumaki
So,
suffer
looks
a
like Mob
serious
has
head
an
injury,
advantage
their
there.
powers become more difficult to use.
So
But
maybe
as far
she's
as
not quite the
raw
unstoppable
power,
goddess she thought she was. And after getting that memo, she finally loosened
I don't know,
up a
maybe
bit.
she edges
Even
him out a
let her
bit.
sis hang out with her friends instead of throwing them into a wall or something. Oh,
Yet, at the end of the day, the idea that anyone could even hope to match the Tornado of Terror's pure psychic power seems laughable.
You disgust me. Get lost.
What's with the attitude from this lost child?
All right, the commanders are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
but first, my mental powers are telling me that some of you are hungry.
No idea who
By
I
now,
think is
you've
going to win
probably
this
heard
one.
of Blue Apron, the leading meal kit delivery service in the U.S.
Choose your
It sounds
meal
like Mob
get
has
the
the
ingredients delivered to your
advantage
doorstep and whip up a meal using the
and
easy
ability
to follow directions provided.
And the
Blue
fact that he
Apron
can
offers
attack and
plenty of
defend at the
different
same
menu
time.
options with an ever-changing mix of meat, fish, plant-forward, and
Whereas they
vegetarian
made mention
It's
that
great.
she
Blue Apron's been
is
around
either
for
one or
quite
the
a while
other.
now, and that's
If
no
she's focused on
coincidence.
attacking, her
Just
defense
that
is
good.
lower.
It's so easy to make delicious meals with this, I'll even eat boomsticks cooking if I know it's from Blue Apron.
Hey,
But
I'll
how-
take that as a compliment.
how do those
Blue Apron
numbers
seriously
translate?
helps
Like,
even the worst
based
chefs
on the
learn
fact
their
that
way
his
around the
power
kitchen. My favorite
is
part
more
feeling
than-
like a master chef, making creative and delicious meals with my own hands. You guys really need to try
all
it out.
the nuclear
It's pretty
weapons
nice coming home knowing
in
I'll
the
have
world
a delicious
combined
meal I can whip up with ease. To start making delicious, brag-worthy meals
to
at home
being-
without the hassle, try Blue Apron.
Check out this week's
how much
menu
she
and
can
get
lift.
$60 off at blueapron.com/battle. That's
The millions of tons that she can lift.
blueapron.com/battle.
Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
But right now, it's time for a death battle.
All right, so yeah, no idea who's going to win this one, and honestly, I'll be fine either way.
Oh, I'm lost.
What are you doing, dummy? Get out of here.
Can you help me? Do you go to the middle school here?
Middle school?
Yeah, that's a way to piss her off.
You shouldn't use your powers on others.
Yeah, that's another thing. If she could have,
Impressive. I'll crush you in 5 seconds.
if she could turn off his power, and here we go.
Time to teach you a lesson.
What?
By the way, just so you know, this is your fault.
He's not wrong. Well, hell. Won't be as easy as you think it is it, Tornado?
How easy.
You're over, and now we're in the overpower. Yeah, I think you're outmatched,
Big shot. Try
Tatsumaki. This kid is impressive, I'll give him that. Oh, fuck.
pay more attention. Nobody beats me.
Alright then, never mind.
Whoa! Whoa, that was crazy! I thought for sure Mob would win with his sucking power.
This was an incredibly close match. Honestly, if we were to run through this fight 100 more times, Mob could reasonably win 40 or so of them.
But we're not here to find out who wins 40% of the time. Mob had tons of awesome abilities, which gave Tatsumaki a hard time, but she still had the stuff to pull off a win more times than not.
Right, first of all, Tatsumaki had a notable advantage when it came to training and experience.
She's a top-ranked
Yeah, I can give her
superhero
that.
who was trained from 7 years old, fighting a middle schooler who never wanted to use his powers in the first place.
She was faster too.
Fair.
Her reaction against Boros' bullets moving over 617,000 meters per second.
Sure, Mob reacted to friggin' lightning, but believe it or not, that's still technically slower.
See, a lightning bolt technically has two different speeds to consider. First for the slower liter of ionized air going down, and second for the faster flash going up. Given that Mob was reacting to a projectile moving down towards him, this can only mean he was reacting to the liter, which moves 98,000 meters per second, more than 6 times slower than Tatsumaki.
So, even though Mob had the edge of being able to attack and defend at the same time, Tatsumaki was a lot quicker than him. So she could switch between attacking and defending fast enough to counter Mob.
Alright,
whenever
fair.
she really
Fair
needed
enough.
Still, that alone doesn't mean Mob couldn't have eventually scored a fatal blow. All of this would mean nothing if Tatsumaki couldn't overpower Mob's absorbing shield.
to. His awesome power of suck.
Right, we know Mob's
Yeah.
sucking shield had a limit given how he was forced to transfer absorbed energy into those seeds, growing a massive head of broccoli in an instant. We can actually use this broccoli to get a general idea of Mob's absorbing limits. Broccoli typically requires 143 kilojoules of energy to grow 1/10 of a kilogram's worth. Scaling this giant one to the nearby buildings, we found it to be 21 million times
You know how much
larger than the
energy it
average
takes to make broccoli.
This
All right.
means Mob must have transferred enough energy to equate to about 1.6 megatons of TNT.
Yeah, but how about the energy Tatsumaki used to stop and redirect those giant bullets? Those things are huge, solid shells with no explosive component, given how Saitama here was able to crush one without triggering a big kaboom. And they could wipe out a whole city.
We're shown that the shells destroyed most of City A in one shot, and we
Yeah.
can see how much damage they dealt to Boros' ship when Tatsumaki turned them around. With this data in mind, the height of Boros' ship, and the already calculated bullet speed, we determined the energy she displayed here must have equaled at least 470 gigatons of TNT.
A bit more.
Way more than Mob's big
Yeah.
crowd feet. And more than enough to shatter his shield all at once. Tatsumaki was just too
Tatsumaki's
damn
reverse
powerful.
Uno.
And it's not like Mob could absorb giant rocks thrown at him either.
Certainly, Mob's unique powers were generally passive and defensive, whereas Tatsumaki's were better suited to precision strikes and deadly blows. Once Mob's barrier was down, she had plenty of options for wrapping things up, whether it be blocking his psychic power, controlling his chi, or simply crushing him herself.
And her powers weren't dependent on her feelings, so she was always at full strength, no matter what the situation was.
Mob certainly had the skill and ability to put up an incredibly close fight, but Tatsumaki's experience, speed, and power put an end to this prodigious battle.
She just had the experience she needed.
The winner is Tatsumaki.
Alright, that's fair. I'll give.
Hey, thanks for
I will
watching
say
this
that
episode
based
of
on what they
DeathBattle. If
said.
you want the battle music for yourself, you can get by clicking the link down
Now,
below.
if Mob
Or you can
actually
check out more of our
trains
stuff right over
himself,
You can't have a death battle season without Deadpool, right?
Got Deadpool?
Deadpool, right?
Deadpool, right?
Hey, Boomstick.
Yeah, Wiz.
I think I might know a way to get rid of Deadpool once and for all.
Deadpool versus the Mask. Interesting. Yeah, the Mask is incredibly difficult to kill. He's a straight up cartoon character. And I'm not sure it's going to go the same way as the Pinkie Pie way, you know. She is a lot like the Mask in that way, and she is a cartoon character, but also shows all the cartoonish abilities that one would expect from like Looney Tunes or that type of thing, where, you know, if someone in real life had that, they would be unstoppable. Thus, the Mask. Alright, now talking about this one. I have to imagine that if Mob had the training that she did and had the drive that she did, he would be able to like, it sounds like he has the potential to be so much more powerful than she could ever be. But he's just not. And this is showing them in their primes as what they are now at their max power. So yeah, looks like that little bitch won. Oh well. So I want to thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed that. But I'm gonna end this one here. Until next time. Take care.